Hey everybody, thank you for joining today. My name's Scott Cleary. Danielle Chaffin's here with me as well. Today we're going to be showing off one of our marquee products, LaneIQ. So that you know, I oversee the Southeast and Eastern Seaboard territory for Revenova. Been here a little bit over 2 years, so I've talked to a lot of folks and have a good idea of what people like to see when we show this product. So that being said, LaneIQ is an amalgamation of all your internal data, whether that's load posting, sales history, but I'm going to dive into that now. The two examples I like to use, I will go first with the carrier sales example. So if you have a truck or carrier that calls in saying, hey, Scott, I've got a truck in Dallas, really need to get them out of there, quickly just by punching in Dallas, Texas, or a zip code for Dallas and deciding what range we want from Dallas to look, you'll quickly pull all of the available loads in your network, as well as other information I'll get to in a moment. But quickly, with the snap of a finger, a few keystrokes, you're able to say, okay, ABC carrier, I've got a bunch of loads leaving Texas, Dallas specifically. I've got some Tampa, some Atlanta areas, some Chicago's, and even some Southern California. What looks attractive to you? So very quickly, without having to look at a list view or go to an Excel spreadsheet, you can quickly tell the carrier what you have available. So maybe they want a Chicagoland area. Now, of course, I can jump into the load with one of my smart links here or hyperlinks. I could open up a new tab, but what I'm doing here is actually pulling right from the TMS side of things, right from the load rather than the home page. And I'm able to interact quickly with that carrier. Again, speed and efficiency is what we're looking for here. So say that carrier is Bronze Express and they wanted to give us a quote on this. I can absolutely put that in right here. We're looking up to Chicago from Dallas. So maybe I'll say that this is going to go for 1650. Don't worry, everybody, the rates are coming back up, hopefully a little bit higher and higher as we go here. But right from here, if that's a little higher than what I'm looking for, I can save the quote and come back to it later. If I have existing quotes, which would show up right here, I can use that as a negotiation tool. Also, I can accept or tender it right out from this page. The carrier will receive their tender documents, or if this is one of our top tier carriers, I could assign it right from here and they'll receive the tender documents, the rate con, right away. So a lot you can do just from this quick view as a carrier sales rep. Now, the next example I'd like to use is very similar. I'm working as a customer sales rep at this point, and maybe a customer calls in saying, hey, we've got another one of those Dallas to Chicago loads or Elk Grove Village loads. What can you do for me? So again, as a former rep, I used to have to go to one of my external load boards, go to the top of those, throw money on top and pray that my team could get it covered. Again, with LaneIQ, you're looking at your internal data that is showing everything your team has been booking loads for and selling freight for. So not only am I going to see the loads in my network, essentially my competition in this case, if I were to earn the shipment, but also internal posting. So these are all the carriers set up with you, ready to go, who are communicating with your carrier team for where they are for the week. So you can see how many trucks are posted in your network. Next, I'm getting access to a lot of sales quote history from 3 days up to a year for loads one, customer quotes, carrier quotes, the rips that we're getting on these on average, and also similar loads for that lane. So looking at the load information, city, lane, low, average, high we've sold it for, and the customer we've moved it for. On the other side, the carrier sales information. So what have we bought it for? The carriers used, low, average, high that we've purchased it for. Last, but certainly not least, is all of that carrier history. I'm going to open this up a little bit, get us even more info, is showing who hauled it, the quotes they've provided versus loads received, last time they moved a load so that you make sure the rates that you're giving customer is relevant, as well as their on-time delivery percentage. Then again, the low, average, high that we've been buying this for from the carrier. So with just a few keystrokes, it's very easy for a tenured or very green sales rep, customer, or carrier to pull information and interact with carriers and customers in order to earn shipments and freight. Next, I'm going to show you how to look at this from a load level. So if I hop into any shipment that has not been booked yet, because of course our pages render to update the page layout to fit where you are in that load life cycle, I'll just select the LaneIQ from load 27956, and you can quickly see that I'm now pulling up this information based on this specific lane, San Jose, California, as in Illinois. What I want to point out here, though, is that at this moment, We were looking at LaneIQ, of course, at a load level, which means we were looking at it for the customer that the load is associated to. If we want to look at this from across the whole company, all we have to do is clear out those filters, give it a nice refresh, and now we're going to see what we're looking at across the company and see that those numbers have updated a bit.
Before we go there, we have had a lot of questions on the filter. Users coming into the load, they don't see all of the data that they're expecting. And just like you touched on, we can remove the default customer, the customer from the load, and you're going to get more data. I want to point out one more thing at the bottom when we're on loads is that you can quickly send out a request for quote for your carriers. So I've got 7 days of quote history or carrier history. I can select one of my carriers, like MLK Trucking. You'll see that the Get Quotes button is now active. Scott's going to click on it. It's going to send out that request for quote to the carrier with the load information and give him the ability to submit a rate or submit a quote for the specific load. I want to just touch on a few points from our customers or clients, questions, answers, or frequently asked combination of those. One
Absolutely.
of the items, if you'll scroll up, maybe back down just a little bit to the sales quote history.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thanks. You'll see that we have 3-day look back, 7/15, and we go back to 1 year. If you have 5 years of data in your organization, we can pull that in. However, as we know in the spot market, even something back to like 90 days isn't as relevant. You can set this from the 5-year point back to 1 year. It is going to make the component go faster because we're only pulling in that 1 year of load and quote data rather than the 5. So I want to show you how to do that. Has come across a number of times. In the top right of your screen, there's going to be a gear or a sprocket. If you click on edit page, this can only be done by an admin. So if you're not an admin, you can send this portion of the video to your admin and ask that they make these changes. Wherever on your page LaneIQ is, go to LaneIQ and click on the component. There's going to be some parameters or configurations that open on the right. The first ones, we're just setting the order of the truckload match section or sales quote history. What I want to show you is more closer to the bottom. It's the last time frame period in years, right there where Scott is. So ours is set to 1 year. This could be set to 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. But again, looking at how much data we're pulling in, what's relevant in the spot market versus what we may not need to run or get all of that data. You can change it to 1 or 2, click save, and then that is going to set your final column in the sales quote history section. Within the sales quote history, we are not pulling in accessorial charges or accessorial rates into the sales quote history. Accessorials range, they could be anywhere from $50 up to maybe a truck order not used. So we are not pulling those into the section. You're only seeing those freight or line haul rates. And then if there is fuel added in to those rates.
Danielle, thanks so much for sharing that with us. I am familiar with the edit page layout page. However, I did not know changing the years from 5 to 1 was so simple to do.
Absolutely. There are tons of more configurations that are just as easy. Because of the Salesforce platform, we get to utilize that click not code functionality. Revenova gives you the configurations like the parameters we saw. You put in what fits your business, what fits your users and your operations, and you're ready to go. We will be recording more videos like this one for different tools, different features in the Revenova application and on the Salesforce platform. So stay tuned for more.